Proud to serve northeastern and central Pennsylvania. This is WNEP 16, the news station. Now, Frank Andrews, Marisa Bird, meteorologist Noreen Clark, and J. Christopher Spore. This is Newswatch 16, midday.
U.S. and Soviet negotiators in Geneva, Switzerland wrapped up arms talks today, and now they'll take their proposals home for the superpower leaders to consider. The arms talks have been going on for almost a year, and although there is nothing in writing, as ABC's Rick Enderford explains, both sides are talking about reducing nuclear weapons.
Today's session marks the end of the fourth round of the Geneva arms talks, a round that saw two new proposals placed on the table. Soviet leader Gorbachev's plan to rid the world of nuclear weapons by the year 2000, and President Reagan's counteroffer 10 days ago to eliminate all medium-range missiles in Europe and Asia within 3 years. But do these new proposals represent real progress in the negotiations or public relations? U.S. officials insist the two sides are narrowing their differences on the reduction of American Pershing II and ground-launched cruise missiles and Soviet SS-20 rockets. But both sides agree there has been no movement on reducing longer-range nuclear weapons or President Reagan's so-called Star Wars missile defense plan. Indeed, one U.S. official says this has been the worst round of the talks so far, describing it as sterile. Following his meeting with Soviet leader Gorbachev at the Geneva summit 4 months ago, President Reagan addressed a joint session of Congress and said,
"We are both instructing our negotiators to hasten their vital work, and the world is waiting for the result."
But based on this latest round of the Geneva arms talks, it appears that the world will have to continue to wait for those results to become apparent. Rick Enderford, ABC News, Geneva.
President Reagan also says today if Congress doesn't okay $100 million in aid for the freedom fighters in Nicaragua, that country could become another Cuba.
Congressional defeat of this aid proposal could well deliver Nicaragua permanently to the communist bloc. Procrastination risks a military victory for the Sandinistas who hope to finish off the freedom fighters before American help can arrive.
But Reagan's push for the aid is getting strong opposition today. 200 religious leaders are demanding that Congress refuse the aid the president wants for the rebel forces in Nicaragua. State of emergency for 24 areas of South Africa will apparently be lifted later this week. South African President P.W. Botha told his parliament this morning that he will probably lift that state of emergency on Friday. It was imposed last July to try and quiet riots over apartheid. Opponents of apartheid have been fighting to get the state of emergency lifted ever since then. 4 U.S. astronauts who have flown on space shuttle missions say they'd like to have a way out, a launch escape system, but they believe it's impractical right now. ABC's Rebecca Chase talked to the astronauts about the shuttle tragedy and their feelings about the safety of future shuttle missions.
The astronauts said they didn't learn about the past problems with the rocket booster seal until the accident investigation. And that was information they felt they should have known about, especially since it affected some of their past missions.
The fact that there was a problem with the seals still bothers me. I didn't know about it. Somehow there was a breakdown somewhere that word didn't get to us, that we've been having these minor problems with the seals, and that they've been going on for some time. In fact, my last 2 flights had a problem with seals, and I didn't know it. That strikes me as possibly an oversight. That's however it didn't get to us, well, I think that's something we should have been aware of. It surprised me if that's really what happened, and it's kind of upsetting to think that that's what happened.
The astronauts say time is beginning to ease the grief and sorrow of NASA employees, and the astronauts are going ahead optimistically with their training.
I'll want to make sure for my crew's sake that the problem's fixed, and then I very much want to go. I can probably speak for most of the astronauts down here in the Corps right now. There's not one of us that wouldn't go out there and get this thing and go flying. That's what we're here for, and that's what we're training for. But we don't, on the other hand, want to go flying in something that's not safe.
While the astronauts are anxious to get back into space, they also want and expect to play a greater role in the decisions that affect their lives. Rebecca Chase, ABC News at the Johnson Space Center.
Our Weather Watch forecast is coming up next. That snow this morning kind of snuck up on us. What's next?
Well, Frank, our weather is very fickle. We had some light snow and flurries this morning, and now it's changing to a drizzle right now. Find out what's next with the forecast, with the Weather Watch coming up from the backyard.
Well, the month of March is certainly keeping up to its reputation. It was like a lion this morning, very unpredictable, isn't it, Mary?
That is correct. Very fickle. This morning we had some light snow that whitened the ground in many areas. Since then, temperatures have been gradually on the rise, and the dusting that we had here in the backyard has melted away completely. Let's check with some of our weather watchers at this midday hour and see how they're doing. Mark and Rosalie Cook from Rome in Bradford County have 37 degrees and a cloudy sky, but they did receive a dusting this morning from the snow, and most of that is going on the ground up there. From Danville, Roy and Betty Baker have 40 degrees and a cloudy sky, and in Weatherly, Carbon County, Ronald Gearhart has 38 degrees, a cloudy sky, and he did receive light snow this morning, and in the elevations there, it was anywhere from a quarter of an inch to a half inch of snow. Here in the backyard at this midday hour, the temperature is in the mid-30s, 35 degrees, humidity high at 80%. The wind is very light out of the east at 5 miles per hour, and that barometric pressure is falling just a little bit within the last hour. Checking the very latest satellite picture, you will notice a good deal of cloudiness, not only over the state of Pennsylvania, but from the Ohio Valley right straight east through the northeast. Along with that, we did have a very weak storm that was in the Ontario province. It slipped into western New York during the morning hours, and that helped produce the light snow and flurries that we have. But with temperatures on the rise gradually this afternoon, it's turning over to a drizzle. And you'll notice that that will continue through much of the afternoon hours because of all the cloudiness that you see to the north and west of the state of Pennsylvania. But you'll also see a cold front that's up there over the Great Lakes. That is going to be pushing to the south and east over the next day, and the result is going to be a chilling effect. If you take a look at the steering currents over the next few days heading into the latter portion of this week, you'll notice that the air comes directly from northern Canada. It is going to be an Arctic Express. Our normal highs are near 40 degrees, but they are going to be plunged into the freezing mark for the next few days behind this front. You'll notice out west it's going to be very warm, but I believe that the storm track is going to follow that second steering current to the south, and much of the storminess will follow to the south. So it looks like we're going to have a cold but generally dry week ahead. Checking the afternoon forecast ahead, well, it looks like it's going to be a mixture of flakes and sprinkles. Flakes where the temperatures are cold enough for snow, otherwise it's going to be sprinkles in the form of some very light drizzle. Temperatures will be ranging from the upper 30s to the low 40s. The wind will be variable until later on this afternoon when it comes out of the west. And here's my forecast. I'm looking for a drizzle. In some locations it will take the form of flurries. Some of this will extend into the nighttime hours. Then it will turn generally cloudy with a low of 27. I am looking for a clearing during the day tomorrow to partly sunny skies. The temperatures are going to be turning cooler during the day behind the cold front. There could even be some flurries behind the cold front. And heading into Thursday, a cold day. It looks like it's going to be cloudy. Looks like we're going to miss a storm on that day as it moves to our south. And heading into Friday, more flurries on the way. So, Frank, it looks like we're not out of the woods yet as far as winter weather.
But my notes say 2 weeks and 2 days till spring.
I know, and you're still counting.
We're counting every day. Thanks, Mary. Jay Christopher's up next on Newswatch 16 Midday with a look at some of the great college basketball plays of the month. We'll dazzle you with some of the razzle-dazzle next on the Sports Watch.
Everybody knows that Nexus is a really good shampoo, so everybody uses it. Until somebody notices that everybody is using it and puts the Nexus someplace where just anybody can't find it. Well, nobody's going to stand for that. And pretty soon, everybody is trying to keep anybody and everybody from finding the Nexus. Honey, have you seen the Nexus? Where did you look? Nexus is easy to find. It's at hairstyling salons everywhere.
Welcome to the real world of dairy goodness. Rich, wholesome, real cottage cheese. Climb creamy crisp, dive into delicious dairy flavor. Cottage cheese is low in calories, full of protein and calcium. Sprinkle it, drizzle it, lavish it, savor it. So good and so good for you. Cottage cheese. Look for the real feel for real dairy flavor. Welcome to the real world.
I know you're going to show us some of those great plays, but there were good ones in that St. Joe's game last night.
Oh, a bunch of good plays last night. Yeah, they're quite proud of that. Hello again, everybody. College basketball overnight. Maurice Martin scored 22 points as top-seeded St. Joseph's defeated West Virginia 72-64 to capture the Atlantic 10 Conference basketball tournament and the NCAA tournament bid on Monday. Martin, who didn't start because of a back problem, came off the bench to give St. Joe's the early 14-6 lead. Nice. But later in the half, Dale Blaney put the Mountaineers on top by 2 with that shot. St. Joseph's regained the lead once, but lost it to, and West Virginia led at the half despite a buzzer beater by Craig Millay. The St. Joe's pulled away for the win in the second half, 72-64. On the electric scoreboard, number 9 Bradley defeated West Texas State 61-55. Number 12 Notre Dame ran by New Orleans 75-67. 15th rated Oklahoma upset by Oklahoma State 87-84. And number 18 Navy shaded North Carolina at Wilmington 62-60. High school basketball in one of a number of playoff games Monday night. Forest City defeated Elk Lake 58-48 in a single-A affair at Forest City. They advanced to Wednesday's second round. The Foresters went out early to a 12-11 lead thanks to that shot by Tom Side, who hits there, and then minutes later he swings to the opposite side for another two-pointer. He finished the evening with 18 points. Forest City had a 28-21 lead at the break and went on to win it 58-48. More action in Class Single-A Wednesday night in the playoffs. Milwaukee defeated the New York Knicks overnight 115-108 to take their 11th win in their last 12 outings from game action. Early in the third, the Knicks took a 61-59 lead with James Bailey following up on a missed Louis Orr shot. But Kenny Fields came off the bench for Milwaukee and spurred the comeback here. He hangs up nicely for the basket and is fouled on the play. That gave the Bucks the lead for good. Fields went on to score a career-high 23 for the Bucks, who went on to defeat the Knicks 115-108. On the NBA scoreboard, Milwaukee beats New York by 9. Dallas shaded Phoenix 139-138 in double overtime. The LA Lakers topped Golden State 127-117, and Seattle beat Houston 118-105. College basketball has taken on an air of polish the past couple of years. There's the slam, the jam, the alley-oop, and the reverse layup, to name a few. Something pleasing to the eye. Here's a look at some of the best from last month. Some of the best from last month in the college ranks.
Razzle-dazzle. Thanks a lot, Blake. Stay with us for more of Newswatch 16 Midday, because when we come back, we're going to show you a kind of goofy-looking plane that just makes that a very unique flying record. The details in a moment on Newswatch 16 Midday.
Honey! Honey!
To those whose lives are stimulating enough, we offer the caffeine-free choice of a new generation, Pepsi-Free. Made with absolutely no caffeine, just great Pepsi taste. Caffeine-free Pepsi-Free, because life is stimulating enough. Irregular and diet.
And finally today, a different-looking plane that just may set one of the few aviation records that's left to be set, flying around the world without refueling. Now, the plane is named Voyager, and two pilots, Dick and Gianna Yeager, plan to spend 12 days in it this fall flying around the world without refueling. It's built to be as fuel-efficient and light as possible. The only metal in it, the nuts and bolts. And after it's airborne, it is designed to save all the fuel it can.
Putters along at, you start off with something in the order of 9 or 10 miles per gallon, which isn't very good when it's real heavy. So once it burns off a little fuel towards the end of the mission, the last week or so, The airplane is down burning 2-3 gallons an hour, puttering along at about 80 miles an hour to be very efficient.
Now, the husband and his wife team plan to take the trip in August. They'll spend 12 days in the cockpit as big as a pup tent. It's so small you can't stand up. You can only sit and lie down. And they hope to travel around the world in 12 days without refueling and set a new aviation record. That is a different-looking plane. You got to admit that. And that's all we have time for Newswatch 16 Midday. For the crew and Marisa Burke, who has the afternoon off. Have a good day, everyone.
When you see news in the making, Newswatch 16 wants to hear from you. Call 1-800-533-NEWS. Toll free from anywhere in Pennsylvania. Call 24 hours a day, 7 days a week. 1-800-533-NEWS.